Here we are. Okay, so probably nobody's here yet. I am going to try and share this stream over on all the social media so you guys know where to find me. That's why I'm a bit early. Just ignore all this chuntering. I have no idea how to actually do that. So let's see if I can do it on my phone. YouTube is mostly a closed book to me. By the way, if you're there, say hi. I am early, so I'm just trying to figure out how to share the stream at the moment, because obviously I have no idea what I'm doing with anything. Oh yay, there's me on my phone. Now I can find it, maybe. No, that's not being very useful. Oh, here we go. Share. I found the share button, guys. There we go. Just going to share all this on Facebook and all the others so that everyone knows that it's time. Well, in 4 minutes anyway. Here we go. Luckily, I have some questions to start with, so if it's not many people popping in too early, then I will still be able to answer some questions anyway. Okay, letting Facebook know that we're live now. By the way, you guys, if you're here and you have some questions, just pop them in the chat there. It's I've got it set on top chat instead of live chat. Hi to B Foreman. And once I've shared this on the social media so people know where to come and how to find me, I'll start answering some questions that I already had. Excuse me if I'm coughing. I broke a rib and punctured my lung, and it's giving me a lot of coughing this week. So apparently I'm supposed to be watching out for pneumonia. So that's been fun. The chair that I'm in now, I've been sleeping in this chair for the last 2 nights, maybe 3. I kind of forget. The days are blurring into each other. And before that, for the other sort of week and a half, it was on the 2 other types of chairs that are in here that are nowhere near as comfortable, let me tell you. Okay, so we've let the Facebook people know, we let the Twitter people and the Discord people know, and then we'll be able to answer some questions finally. This is why I started early, because I figured it would take that long for me to be able to actually get out the word, because, again, I have no idea what I'm doing. Hi to Confused Raccoon. I still love your YouTube handle. It makes me very happy. I like any kind of raccoon. I'm a fan of Rocket Raccoon, but Confused Raccoons are particularly me adjacent, I guess. I appreciate them anyway. Right, Discord is the only one left to let know that we're on. And then we'll be able to get into things. One of these days I'll have to do a live for the people who aren't in sort of the America time zones to try and get some more people in. By the way, I have some sticky date tea for while we're talking today. I'm hoping that'll help with the coughing and the raspy in my voice. By the way, just ignore the bruised and slightly bloated appearance of my face today. I wasn't in a fight, despite what you might think from the broken rib. It is just that that I got laser treatment for my rosacea the other day, and I consistently forget that I've got rosacea appointments whenever I have a live stream, so that's fun. Yes, it's a beautiful mug, isn't it, guys? There's a few of you in the comments saying that it's a beautiful mug. This one's from T2. I get most of my tea from T2 here in Australia, but they have the most beautiful mugs as well, and I'll try and tip it so that you can see without tipping too far. It has little designs on the inside as well. Isn't it lovely? You're wanting to know what I did to myself to break a rib? Very little. In fact, I went to bed one night with no broken rib, perfectly hearty and hale, well, apart from lingering sickness from the last 2 months. And I woke up with a broken rib. And as far as I can make out, it was a combination of a nighttime coughing fit, of which I've had many over the last 2 months because I've been continuously sick for the last 2 months with the stomach flu, which also included coughing for some reason, amongst lots of throwing up and feeling horrible, basically. And also the fact that I sometimes use a tennis ball to try and work out knots in my back because I have a very bad back. So I woke up to spasms in my back and lots of pain. And yeah, I left it for about a week because although the pain was very, very bad, it was sort of like, oh, it's an intercostal muscle, so I'll just take care of it and I'll rest and I won't do too much. And then I had such bad spasms and pain because I wasn't using this arm. It's my right back rib. And I haven't been using this arm nearly at all. And then on the 4th day after I'd done it, I dared to chop up some veggies. It was zucchini, so it wasn't like I was hacking through stuff, and stir my dinner. And then I washed my hair very, very carefully. And then after that, my entire right side was spasming so that I couldn't stop it. And then it spread over my entire chest. And at that point, we were like, well, we should probably be calling the ambulance because this is going to start a heart attack. It was extremely painful, extremely uncomfortable. Managed to get into a position where all the spasming stopped. And so I was like, oh no, yeah, she'll be right. We'll if it gets bad again, well, we'll do something about it then. And then that'll be it. But then I went to the doctor a couple of days later, about a week after I'd done it, because I had noticed that when I was reclining and not fully laid down, because I haven't been able to lay down flat in a week and a half, there was bubbling. So the pain was irritating me of a morning, but more so than that was the bubbling with every single breath. And that was very much bothering me. Also, it didn't seem quite healthy. So I went to the doctor. She had a poke around, a rather painful poke around if it comes to that. And one of the ribs, she could feel when I was breathing out, but not when I was breathing in. And she could feel the bubbling as well. So she's like, yeah, you've broken your rib. You've probably also put a little bit of a hole in your lung, and we'll need to watch that because you can get like a bit of emphysema and possibly pneumonia from that. So we went and got the x-rays and all that so that we can go and take x-rays later to make sure everything's clearing up. And yeah, and then the next morning I woke up in such bad pain and couldn't breathe properly at all. And again, we nearly called an ambulance, but then I was doing my breathing exercises to try and strengthen everything and encourage my lungs to actually do the right thing. And then something went clunk in my ribs and the pain drastically reduced. And also I could breathe again with less pressure. So we didn't end up going to the hospital then either. Since then, I've noticed that I've got to be really careful what I put against the back there. So I have to sleep sitting up. And I wake up usually in a fair bit of pain. But apart from that, just being careful and just sitting down, I've been able to keep writing, though not as much as I would like. So I'm hoping to keep writing a little bit better next week when I'm hopefully in less pain again, because, yeah, I'm about at a week and a half now after I've done it. So it's been interesting. Sarah says zucchini strikes again. Yeah, I know, right? It's one of the few green vegetables I love to eat, but seriously, that was a lot of pain to go through for some zucchini for dinner. Laura's impressed by my productivity through all this. I'm honestly very slightly impressed at my productivity as well. I didn't expect to be able to keep writing through the level of pain I've been through, because I have endometriosis. I'm no stranger to pain, but the pain I had on the previous Sunday night was, if not the worst, some of the worst I've had in my life. It was quite bad. So I'm glad that part of it's over. I'm still in pain all the time. Like every single breath hurts, but it's sort of the level of a stitch. So like you can feel it with every breath. There's that compression with every breath, but it's not the spasms all over your body because you're in so much pain type thing. So we're getting there. And now I have some experience wherewith to write characters with broken ribs, I guess. So that's a thing that's happened now. So yeah, that's been fun. B Foreman's asking, is it broken or knocked loose? And that a friend coughed so hard she knocked one of those. We assume it's broken. The doctor said it was broken, and it's definitely been moving around. It wasn't just the once that it's moving around. It's been continually moving around depending on how I'm sitting. And usually I'll get a lot of pain and then it'll move back into the place where it was or where it's supposed to be for a little while. And then I'll be in less pain and then it'll get jogged out of place again. So we assume it's broken also because of my lungs bubbling and there being a hole there. We assume that, yeah, it was broken and that because it was broken, that's how I got the hole there that's causing all the bubbling, which is, yeah, again, fun. Excuse me removing my coat here. I'm in the living room where there's a gorgeous fire, but also it also makes it a little bit warm for me sometimes. So yeah. Hi to Desiree, who says she's late to the party, but here it's nice to see everyone actually, or at least I don't see you guys. I see the little figure up there that says how many people there are, which is, lovely to see. If you have any questions, pop them below. I'm going to start answering the ones that I got on Facebook earlier. If you have a spoiler for book number 8, perhaps just mark it as a spoiler there, and I will give people a warning to turn off their sound until I make a gesture or something like that, so that anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled for book 8 doesn't need to be spoiled. I think most people have read it by now. That's why I made this live for so long after the publication. So we'll try doing that. And I will answer some questions about books and tropes and everything else. Roxelle asked on Facebook, when do we know who Pet will choose regarding love interests, their next book or the last for the City Between series? So you're going to know in book 9 who she chooses. That will be made very, very obvious for a number of different reasons. First and foremost is because of Pet's own train of thought, but also other things will come to light that will make things extremely clear when it comes to that particular thing. But since it's her choice, that's actually the important thing here. You'll definitely know that next book. I'm writing that now, though I haven't written the exact scene. So yeah, you'll get to see that in the next book. I've written parts of the scenes that are adjacent to it because you guys know I don't write in order. I don't write in a linear fashion. So I've written some of the end of Between Family. I've written the beginning chapters and like speckled little bits in between, which is, yeah, just the way I work. So it means that, yeah, I've written some of that and I haven't written some of it. We're getting there. Cherie wanted to know, did I know who the killer was when I began writing the Between series? I did. From the start, I knew exactly who the killer was and exactly what I wanted to do with that particular storyline. It was actually one of the biggest things that I knew about the series. I had an idea for Pet's name, and I had an idea for the relationships in the book, but the one thing I was very solid on was the identity of the killer. So the reveal of that, I've seen out and about a review or two that complains that it was just for that the reveal of the murderer was just for shock value. But if you go back and read through the entire series from book 1, I've hinted at it the entire way through. There were clues laid the entire way as to be able to figure out who the murderer is, because I knew from the start, which is usually how it works with me. I don't plan stuff, but I've usually got like a big mess of stuff sitting in my head, which is why I don't remember what date it is half the time or even what day it is. So yeah, I definitely had that in mind. It was something I've been working toward with every single book when it came to the reveal, because I wanted it to be, yes, shocking, but I also wanted it to be able to be something that you guys could read back later and pick up clues and be like, I didn't understand it at the time, but this makes sense now. Desiree and Laura are saying happy dance and woohoo about not having to wait for the next book to answer who Pet will choose, assuming they say that she chooses correctly. I think that'll depend on who your ship is as to what you think is correct, but it's certainly what I've had in mind for pretty much the entire series. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. I've been enjoying working toward it, and it'll be nice to have it properly settled. It will also open the door to several shorts. I think I have quite a few short story ideas in mind for the city between after the main series. Some that will take place during the main storyline, others that will be entirely new. But that particular ship being settled is going to open up the door for a lot of those short stories that I wanted to write and have hitherto not been able to write. So you'll get to see that. Desiree says that after starting the series over from book 1 to book 8, there are so many moments that broke her heart. Yeah, honestly, me too. Honestly, the entire time I was writing this series, I knew it would be the way it was. But even with all that, I've really loved writing all the characters and how they turned out. And I still love all of the characters and how they turned out. So, yeah. You guys are saying that you've loved the foreshadowing and clues. I'm glad about that. I really enjoyed doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do in books is to do foreshadowing and clues and to let people know without saying out loud what's happening and why things are there. So that's, yeah, one of the most delightful things about writing this series. By the way, this particular shape of teacup, it keeps reminding me of Beauty and the Beast, like little Chip from Beauty and the Beast. I just really love this shape. But mostly I love the little decorations on the inside. I was talking about it earlier before some of you got here. This is my T2 cup. I've got lots and lots of T2 mugs and teacups and lots of T2 tea as well, because they're just really great tea. Slight spoilers here. Well, not slight spoilers, very slight spoilers. So just turn off your sound for just a little while until I raise my teacup again, because I'm going to discuss some spoilery things from book 8. So yeah, just mute right now and then come back in a little bit. Desiree is saying that the foreshadowing was the reason why so many of them were so afraid for Athelis, because they knew but they didn't want to admit, or they didn't want to know. And also that she still loves Athelis and wants to know how I managed to make people love a murderer. That's probably because I love him so much myself. He's been hands down one of my favorite characters to write. So yeah, so even with everything that's happened and with everything he's done, I still really love to write him. And you definitely haven't seen the last of him. So end spoilers here for people who are tuning back in after the spoilers, and for the people in the chat who are asking about characters being redeemed and also will Athelis make a return. Yes, you haven't seen the last of Athelis. He's still coming back. The fact that he's separated from the others for the time being is not a constant state of affairs, and he will at some stage be reunited, I guess you could say, with them, though I'm not sure whether you would call it a happy reuniting or not. So yeah, we'll have to see about that. But you definitely haven't seen the last of him. By the way, pop your questions in the chat at the moment too, because I've got one more that was asked previously, and then I'll get on to answering any questions that you guys have. Or I do have another thing to talk about as well, because somebody asked me about my writing, my experience when writing. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well, because I thought some of you might be interested as well. Anna on Facebook said, I love your videos on tropes and love the contract relationship and arranged marriage tropes, but it's frustrating when they aren't done well. Yes, I find that really frustrating. I'm honestly not a great fan of the arranged marriage and contract marriage ones, where basically the story is used as a vehicle for people who don't read sex scenes outside marriage to be able to enjoy reading sex scenes. For me, that's okay. Sex in a marriage is an important thing. I'm not going to lie. It is. It's important. And it's something that helps you feel close to your partner, but it is not the be all and end all of your marriage. So if I'm reading a book on contract marriage or arranged marriage, I don't want it to be about sex, because to me, that's not the most important thing about a relationship when you don't know someone to start with and you're trying to make a relationship. So books that are a vehicle for just sex scenes and people to feel like they can read sex scenes without feeling guilty about it because they, don't read sex scenes otherwise, I'm not a fan. I'm also not a fan of the ones where it's, well, just all about the physical anyway, regardless of that. It's just, to my mind, that's not well done. My favorites are when it's all about the relationships and the small moments of trust and the small moments of connection that build up to finally make one whole of a relationship and of a trust, whether that comes to be betrayed or not later. It's just, it needs to have that connection for me to feel like it's a well done story. Anna asked for some favorite examples of this trope. I have two at the moment that I can think of offhand. The first one is a book. It's Friday's Child by Georgette Heyer. I have a love-hate relationship with Georgette Heyer's books. I really enjoy her prose. Her characters are hilarious, but she is often into the more what I would have called less healthy relationships sometimes. So bear that in mind. They are light fluff and they're fun to read, but not always the most healthy. But Friday's Child, I thought, was particularly well done. You should check out Susanna Roundtree's review of that on Goodreads. It's well worth reading, and it gives you an idea of some of the reasons why I love the book so much. My other favorite is actually a K-drama that has the contract relationship or arranged marriage trope, and it's called Mask. It is very drama-y and very angsty, but the entire relationship is based on whether she's going to trust this seemingly unsteady man that she's married to literally get out of a life or death situation. She's been blackmailed into marrying him. And he, on the other hand, thinks that he's going crazy and that he's a very dangerous person to be around. So he's been giving her warnings about that, of course, because he's afraid that he's going to kill her or kill someone else. So the small moments of trust that build up between them are in a lot of ways very similar to a Beauty and the Beast storyline, except that instead of actually being a beast, the beast just thinks he's a beast and is also being medicated by members of his family in a less than healthy way. So it's very fun to watch that trust build up between the two main characters, plus the fact that the female lead is one of my favorite Korean actors. She's just got the most beautiful, warm face. Like, I've rarely seen such just a beautiful and pleasant person to look at. She's just lovely. And she's a good actor, which is also important. It's also got one of my favorite bad guy actors in it. Like, he usually plays a bad guy, which is a shame because he has a really cool face. But anyway, that one's great for the arranged marriage. Go for it. You should definitely try it. Netflix might have it. Otherwise, Vicky does definitely have it. I have it on DVD, but also I have access to it through Vicky. So I'm doubly fortunate. But yeah, those are my two recommendations for contract marriage and relationships. So yeah, go check those out. They're definitely worth it. I do have others, but I can't think of them offhand. And despite the fact that I said I would be prepared for this live, I'm not prepared for this live. I'm very rarely actually prepared for anything that I think I'm going to be prepared for. So sorry about that. Laura says that she finally had boba tea for the first time last week, and she's officially a fan. Yes, join the fan club. I love bubble tea. I'm gonna go right out there and say that Australian bubble tea is nowhere near as nice as Korean bubble tea, but I might just have gone to a bad shop to try and get the brown sugar bubble tea that I really loved in Korea, and it was really disgusting at the place I got it at. My favorite at the moment is lychee green tea with lychee popping balls and chia seeds. And it's one of the most delightful things ever. I don't get it with any sugar because it's already sweet enough with the lychee popping balls and the lychee syrup. So, yeah, if you go to, we've got a place called Gotcha, which I find hilarious because cha is the Korean word for tea, which means, got tea, but also in Australia, gotcha. So that makes me very happy. The name is a pun. I probably told you guys about this before, but yeah, I'm too tired to remember what I've told you. I've not been sleeping well. That's what happens when you puncture a lung and break a rib, apparently. Whoops, I'm missing some missing some comments here. Confused Raccoon is wanting to know that when the next Lady series book will come out, and that they love those books so much because of the sneaky Asian drama references. So I am planning on writing that one, but it's not going to happen until next year. I have huge catch up to do because this year I wanted to focus on getting the Between series finished, plus Gothel and the Maiden Prince and Cinderella Must Die. Those all need to be complete by the end of the year, which is meaning I'm going to be really busy, and also has meant that I've had to put off the next Lady book and Susan's book until next year. Next year, I'm hoping to start on the first spin-off series for the City Between series, but at the same time, I'm not going to publish them too soon. So I'm going to concentrate on getting Susan's book and the next Lady book out. It's called Lady of Ink, and it's going to be Sairi's story. Sairi and Carlin, I should add, because they're going to be together out there somewhere trying to avoid being assassinated by being pushed into vats of ink. So that's going to hopefully happen. So Susan definitely will be published next year. Lady of Ink definitely published next year. And apart from that, I'm going to try and take that year easy and just prepare for the next Between series and get some of it written. But those will be the two main publications for next year. And apart from that, I'm going to try and keep it low key. It was really, really exhausting this year, mostly because I keep getting sick, which has been rather annoying and making things rather difficult for me. So, yeah, I'm just going to be really glad to have the City Between series finished. I'm really looking forward to that. Someone asking what the K-drama was. It was called Mask. There's a Korean movie called Mask as well, I think, though. But the actual Mask K-drama series is a series, and I believe the Korean name is Kamyeon or Kamyeon. So, yeah, there's that. Laura says they're looking forward to my villains book. Me too. I'm a third of the way through writing it. You guys will have noticed probably that on Twitter and Instagram and all those places there are cover reveals going on at the moment. So, oh dear, people are having trouble finding the live stream. Here we go. I'll pop a link down for them. Where was I? Wow. Villains book. Yes, you'll have noticed cover reveals are happening on Instagram and Facebook, and that those are for we're releasing covers one per day, and it's going in publication order. So mine will be sometime, I think it's next week, Friday, that you'll be able to see the full cover of mine. I'm really excited about it. I really love this cover. It's just really vibrant, and it sort of encapsulates everything that I love about Gothel. So I'm actually really happy about that cover, and I'm very excited about people getting to see that, but more excited about actually being able to release the book. It's going to be the 1st of October when it comes out. So I've got time to finish it, but yeah, I'm only a third of the way through writing it at the moment. So once this between book is finished, book 9, I'll start work in earnest on that. I'm still trying to finish off Cinderella Must Die. It's been a process, and I'm not sure why it's taking me so long, because I love the book. It's going to need a thorough edit before it comes out, but that will actually eventually get published either this year or very early next year once I've got an edited version out. By the way, you guys, you can probably see it a little bit in the background. My mother does these like styrofoam heads. This one's a very Russian looking one with his little mustache. There's like a clown one and a butterfly one and so many others. And people keep telling me that they're really, really creepy, but I actually really like them. If you don't like clowns, you definitely won't like the clown one. It's a Harlequin type one with the mask and the diamond for eyes and very bright colors. So yeah, people get a little bit freaked out at them. I like them, but yeah, maybe I'm just weird. Sarah says, so you write multiple books at the same time and that she can't multitask like that. Well, it sort of happens like that when I'm actually working properly, when I'm not sick, when I'm on the ball. For me, it's actually really refreshing to write my main book and then finish writing for the day at just a reasonable sort of 2,000 words, and then write maybe 500 words or 1,000 words of another 2 projects. When I'm in the right frame of mind, when I'm healthy, that's quite easy. I enjoy it. I like being able to skip. It does the same thing for me that skipping ahead or skipping back in a book does when I'm trying to get a book finished. It keeps things fresh in my mind and means that I don't necessarily get stuck and have writer's block like I might otherwise have. So for me, it works really, really well. I'm already confused most of the time anyway, so I don't have too many issues that way. It's just, it's just a matter of, I guess, getting up and having a walk in between the ones that you're doing and figuring out how to apportion your time like that so that you have a clean break right on to the next book, and that makes things a lot easier to keep an eye on, I guess. Someone was asking me a little while ago through email, actually, what writing was like for me. They were saying something like, is it a sort of, what were the words they used? Like a sort of sublime or esoteric feeling where you're just, off in your own little world, just writing your book, enjoying your time. Enjoy the cuckoo clock. It always has to make its voice heard. They said, well, what's it like writing for you? Is it this sort of dreamy experience, or do you just do it as a job? You sit down to write this many words and you write that many words and that's it. For me, it's kind of a bit of both. There's always a time when you will hit your stride and writing feels amazing and you feel really into it. You're in your dream world, you're focused, everything's running through your mind properly, and it is a really dreamy and fun experience. And honestly, it's like that a lot of the time, but it's never just that feeling by itself. There's always the extras there, like the bit of me that's always trying to craft things and write sentences in the best way possible, use the exact right words, get the exact right feeling. But that's all part of the sort of dreamy haze for me, I guess. So it's kind of a bit of both. It is a business for me, obviously, because this is my job. This is what I do for a living. But I've never lost the joy or the dreaminess or the delight of writing. Even if I'd lost the inspiration, so to speak, in what I'm writing, the joy in crafting the words, I don't think that's something that would ever go. So for me, I very much doubt writing will ever be just a job. And even if I couldn't do it as my full time job, which I'm really blessed to be able to do, especially when I do things like, break ribs and get sick for 2 months, even if I wasn't able to do it as full time, then I would still be doing it on the side because that's how I started out. That's how most writers start out, and that's how you make it. You do it because you love it. You do it on the side with all the little specks and little bits of time that you have left, and that's how you turn it into a living or into a job anyway. Catherine says that she's heard writing different projects or working on different projects is a great way to keep your writing fresher and ideas flowing, especially if they're different genres. I've found that, yeah, there does come a point when I have to focus on just one. Like at the moment, because of the point I'm at in between family, I've had to stop working on Gothel and Cinderella Must Die, just to concentrate purely on between family, because if I don't, I won't be able to progress to the next stage, which will be a lot of quicker writing and more easily writing. So there does come that stage, but in general, yeah, for me especially, writing multiple projects, it keeps things fresh. It keeps me from getting writer's block. Annalie or Anili, Anili, I would guess, asks, "What do you do when you get writer's block?" With me, writer's block is normally something that happens because I've somewhere or somehow written something and the story has diverged from either what my back brain already had sort of fermenting behind or what is working out for me as a writer and a reader. So most of the time I haven't realized that in so many words. So it expresses itself in the form of writer's block, where I just sit down and I'm like, I don't know how to keep writing this. I don't know where to go from here. Most of the time, when I figure out where that divergence is and fix it, when I figure out, oh, that character is acting out of character, I need to fix that, or this storyline is going to take the characterization or the story in a different way to which I had envisioned, and either decide to keep following that and make a new vision or stick with my original vision. Once I find out what it is that is bothering my back brain and actually fix that thing and acknowledge it where the proper thinking goes on, like the actual logical and step-by-step thinking goes on, then I can figure out a way forward and I can break through the writer's block. There are occasionally times when it's just because I'm not healthy or because of something in my life that it's really hard to write in a particular moment. In general, for those times, or if I'm just feeling unfocused and can't concentrate, most of the time I'll try and just push through. I'll put on one of my music playlists that is most useful for me in getting my brain flowing, and I just go out to a cafe and I do nothing but write. I'll write for half-hour blocks, give myself a couple of minutes off in between to check my social media and to upload anything I want to upload, and then go back for another half hour. I've got a handy little word tracker called WordKeeper. It's very, very basic, and it was very expensive for what it is, because apparently on iOS there is just a lack of any sort of really useful word counter that's not very expensive. So I do it like this, and it's got a little timer. You go into the project that you've loaded up, and then you'll just select the little timer at the top. And what I mean when I say it's very basic is they give you only half an hour. There are no other options for any length of time, which is very not useful. I go in half-hour lots anyway, but for other people, that's not going to work well. There's only a default alarm. You can't change that. Again, for a paid app, that's not actually very good. I use it though because I have nothing else that I can use. So if you guys know of an app or somewhere that you can get a word count timer, let me know. I would love to be able to get one where even if I have to pay for it, at least I have some better options about what I can and can't do with customization. So I would really, really love that. Excuse my coughing, by the way. I don't mean to keep coughing. I just can't seem to stop. It's part of the rib and lung issue apparently. So yeah, it's been fun. So we answered the what do you do when you get writer's block? Yeah, that's basically what I do. I use that and I use music and I just push through and keep going. Apart from that, when it's the other kind of writer's block, I spend, I guess, a lot of time in the shower or just sitting dreaming because that's when my brain is sort of making up ways to fix things that aren't right that I haven't realized exactly why they aren't right. Desiree is asking, do I ever have moments when the words just flow and I hit my quota for the day but can't put it down? Yes. Yeah, that definitely happens. When that happens, I tend to keep writing. I'm trying really hard to make proper work hours for myself because I do find that I'm the kind of person that doesn't make a clearly defined point between work time and after work time, which means that sometimes I can't sleep because my brain won't switch off. So, in order to help myself sleep better, to have a healthier life, and just to be a generally more healthy person in general, I try and make sure that I'm not doing any writing or writing related stuff after 7 o'clock at night. After 7 o'clock, I'm allowed to read and to watch K dramas and to do my Korean studies, but I try not to do any writing related stuff after that time. I haven't been very good at keeping to that this week, this past week and the week before, but I was injured and it was hard to get the words written anyway. So I was just taking what I could get. I do prefer to keep that divide though. I don't want to mess with that. But having said that, when I do get into that flow, that is pretty much the only time when I'll just keep going because I don't want to lose those ideas because I'm a pantser and not a plotter. If I don't write those ideas down and if I don't write those words while I'm in the flow of it, the odds are that I'm going to forget them. And although I can rewrite that, it's never going to be the exact same way that it was in my head the first time. So I prefer to sit down, keep going, and really work while I can, especially if I'm enjoying it, especially if I'm in the flow of it. I think every writer knows that feeling of actually hitting a streak, hitting the flow, and everything just seems to. It's like Pacha says, when the sun hits that hill just right, the hills just sing. So yeah, that it's like that. You go with the flow when it comes to that because you don't always get the luxury of that. Some days it is just hard yakka. You just have to sit down, get the words done. And it's not that you hate being a writer or that you're not enjoying the process. It just may be because you can't focus that day or because there's something that's bothering you that day or there is somebody eating chips in the same room and crunching for half an hour. Just stuff like that. You're not always going to feel like writing, and sometimes it is just a hard yakka. So when you get those flowy moments, you take advantage of them. You really enjoy them. You run them out to the end. Oh, there's somebody called Tulips and Honey. I like your username. Why do you guys have such cool usernames? Mine is so boring. I just use my author name, which, I mean, yes, business-wise, that's a really good thing to do. But when I come across names like Confused Raccoon and Tulips and Honey, it makes me very, very happy. They said, I looked forward to this all day and nearly missed it. I'm glad you made it in time. We've still got another sort of 20 minutes before I'll sign off. So you've got time to be asking questions and putting stuff in the comments. Yeah, so go ahead and do that if you've got the questions because I'll still be answering them. I've been sort of trawling the comments for questions now because I've answered most of the ones that I got sent previously. They said, thank you for posting excerpts. Waiting for Between Family is painful. Yeah, I enjoy doing the excerpts as well. For me, it's kind of a fun little game, I guess, because I can give you guys an idea of what's going on while at the same time not giving you an idea of what's going on in the book. So for me, it's a lot of fun. I have to be very careful about which excerpts I pick because obviously I don't want to give away spoilers. But there are just always some things I want to share with you guys, which means that sometimes I have to censor some of the excerpts, but mostly I just pick them really, really carefully so that I can share them with you guys without giving away too much. So yeah, the excerpts are fun for me too. Yeah, those aren't going to stop. They may, toward the end of this month, there will be no, like at the end of the month, there probably won't be any more Between Family ones, but then they'll swap over to Gothel and the Maiden Prince excerpts until that one comes out. So I'm looking forward to those. I've really, really been enjoying writing Gothel, Lucian, because it's dual point of view. I don't do that very often. Normally, if I'm writing anything that can be construed as romance, it's always from one point of view. In this case, I'm actually going dual point of view. You will get the prince's point of view and you will get Gothel's point of view. So I've actually really, really been enjoying doing that. I don't do it often. It's been fun. Actually, I think the only other story that I'll be doing that way is not one I've already done, but one I will be doing, the spin-off series for The City Between. That is going to be dual point of view as well, or at least the first spin-off. The second spin-off is going to be just single point of view. But yeah, there's a not a spoiler, but a tidbit for you. Annalie says I got it right the first time, so it's not Anelia, it's Annalie. Cool. I'm really bad with names. I'm worse with faces though. Yay, face blindness. Sarah says that she uses a project management tool that has a timer. She can put in the words and it doesn't have an alarm, but you can add custom fields however you want. It's called ClickUp. I'll have to check that out. I don't necessarily need an alarm because usually if something has an alarm, it startles me, even though I know it's going to go off. I've actually, for the last 4 years, I have usually had my phone on silent. That was for a particular reason, but I've never been able to get back into the habit of having the sound on my phone because the sound of someone calling me or sending me a text still gives me anxiety. So I just, I leave it on vibrate and it goes buzz at me. So an alarm is not an insuperable difficulty if they don't have one. Karen says that she's late to the chat. Apologies if I've answered already. How many books are in the Between series? There's 10 in total. I'm writing book 9 at the moment. You guys have just finished book 8, or at least hopefully you have. There were some spoilers earlier in the chat and in the video. So I did preface them by letting you know to turn off your sound though. So you should be able to avoid them if you can. Book 9's being written now. Book 10 will be started. I'll be starting that in September and probably publishing in either November or December. So all the Between books will be out this year up to book 10. And then I start on the spin-off series and that should have about 5 books, I believe. I've contracted a cover designer to do those and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she comes out with because she's an amazing cover designer and my main cover designer is retiring from a lot of indie cover work and going on to better and brighter things. So I'll not be working with her anymore after this year and I had to find a new designer and this one looks amazing. So I'll be excited to share those with you when they come out. Actually, it's the concept is a lot of fun. SL says, I imagine you cackle with some of the excerpts. I kind of do. I'm not so much of a cackler as a chortler, I guess. I do chortle a lot. Well, it's just such fun. I guess it's the Athalas in me. I love telling people things without telling them or telling people things that don't quite mean what they think they mean. It's fun for me. And also, honestly, if I'm having a hard day writing, or if things are just difficult for whatever reason, posting an excerpt and seeing you guys' reaction is actually one of the most enjoyable things for me. It's I Some of you out there are writers and you'll probably know this, but to a writer, to know that people are enjoying their work and having people being vocal about it is delightful. There's always such a warring in your heart between thinking that your books are good enough so that you keep on publishing, and thinking with every book, this is literal garbage. There's always that in the back of your mind. So it's really easy to be cut down by remarks that aren't happy about it, which is fine. Everyone has their point of view, and I'm actually not not too bad with bad reviews. A lot of them actually make me laugh. But it does mean that when I get good comments and when you guys are very excited about the excerpts that I post, it's delightful to me. It's a little bit of a pick me up and an encouragement to keep writing and to keep going. So I very much, it's a part of my online presence that I actually really, really enjoy. So I'm glad I've got you guys out there still reading. Tulips and Honey says, I can't wait for Gothel. And do I read a lot of other books while I'm writing? If so, what's my favorite right now? For the last 4 years, I found it very, very hard to read at all. I enjoy reading, but the focus, and I don't even know how to explain it to myself or to anyone else, except that I saw one day someone posting on Facebook about that people who have come out of abusive relationships and have had that kind of trauma find it hard to concentrate on the things they once enjoyed, and you have to make a conscious effort to get back into those things. And I found it's really, really true for me. At the moment, I've been reading a lot of just comfort reads. If I do read it also, it's things like Pride and Prejudice or Kate Stradling's books, or any of my favorite authors that I've had for years and years. But even that, I've been reading so slowly. It's been so hard just to get into the books and read them, even though I enjoy them. But with that being said, I'm starting to make a bit more of an effort now because I want to be reading. I enjoy reading. So I've started on Rosamund Hodges' Cruel Beauty, which I tried to read a little while ago and really enjoyed, but because of the slow reading, found that I couldn't read it in time and had to return it to the library. I've got it out again. I'll be reading that. I've also started reading Kenley Davidson's Stolen Thorn Bride, and I'll be going on to Stolen Mayfire Bride after that, Sarah K.L. Wilson's. So I have those. I've got Sorcery of Thorns as a backup, and I'll probably try and read Stephen Brust's newish book that I still haven't read yet. So I've got a lot of lineup. I've got a lot of books that I want to read, that I've been waiting to read, that I've partially read. It's just a little bit difficult at the moment to really enjoy and to really get into the reading. So, yeah. Kaylee's Corner says, hello. I've read and reread all the books from The City Between, and they can't even describe how perfect the book is. Thank you. I like to have people say it's perfect, even if I know there are lots of things that I would fix about it, and that it's better than any book they've ever read, including Harry Potter. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed Harry Potter. There were things I didn't like about it, but my goodness, there were some good things about it. So to be compared with Harry Potter and to be enjoyed more than that, that's delightful. Thank you very much. And I'm glad you've enjoyed it so much. You've got another 2 books coming, and then hopefully untold short things that should be coming through. So, yeah, you can look forward to those, hopefully. Debbie asks, can you tell us who the City Between spin-off series will be about? I can't tell you all of the main characters. I can tell you that I can tell you it will be set in Korea. I am hoping to go back to Korea next year for a more significant portion of time than I spent last year, all going well and travel bans being lifted and me having the vaccine and all that sort of thing. I'm hoping to do that. Whether it happens or not, well, we'll see. And I want to set it there. One of the main characters will be a Gumiho, which some of you may know is a Korean, and also China has a similar thing, nine-tailed fox that supposedly lives by consuming male heart and or livers, basically all the soft stuff. So she will be one of the main characters, and there will also be a young Australian boy called Harrow, who has moved with his family to Korea. So those are two of the characters. I can't tell you a couple of the others because I don't want to spoil things, but you will see some of the characters who were in the main series, in the spin-off series. For the second spin-off series, it'll be completely new characters altogether. You will get to see old characters from the two previous City Between series, but they'll be in passing and they'll be more cameos because it'll be, just completely different characters to start with. But I'm really looking forward to it. The reason I want to write that one so much is that it was actually a dream I had, a bit like the City Between itself. So I had a really good story dream and I can't wait to write it. We'll see how that goes. Oh my goodness, how do you say your username? Vincy TV Holic. Storm issues in their country, and so there's bad reception. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. They'll return after the live, but all they want to know about is about their Pet Zero ship. So as I said earlier, there's you will know who Pet chooses in the very next book, in book 9. As to whether that's a Pet Zero or Pet Yong ship, you're gonna have to wait and see. So I won't give any spoilers as to that. But you will definitely know about your ship in the next book. So rest assured that there will be some final answers there. And that'll all be sorted out. Oh, that reminds me, there was another question on Facebook. Somebody asking about whether or not... yes, that's what it was. Someone was asking a question and saying, we find out what happens with the clothes that Pet bought for Jin Yong. As in they get ruined and Jin Yong is very annoyed about that. But what happened to the clothes that Pet received from Jin Yong that time? So they will actually make another appearance. I haven't yet decided whether that'll be in the final book or whether it will be in one of the shorts, because I know exactly what happens to them. I know exactly where I'm going with that, but I just have to decide whether it's going to be in the ultimate book or whether it's just going to be in a short. So we'll see. Okay, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this one, but somebody with the ending of Bonnie-chan 0 or O is asking, are you planning to write more in this fairy tale world like The Maiden Prince? Yes, actually Gothel and The Maiden Prince and Cinderella Must Die are set in the same world. I have plans for a Snow White retelling in that world as well. As with Cinderella Must Die and Gothel and the Maiden Prince, it will be from the point of view of the person who is considered to be the villain, and I'm hoping to start working on that early next year. So that'll be my just sort of side project type thing while I get the others well started and finish off the lady series, and not finish off the lady series. There'll be one more book after Lady of Ink, but as I finish off the 2 Monarchies series, so definitely more coming. You'll probably notice very slight mentions of that world, like in Gothel and the Maiden Prince, you'll probably notice a very slight reference to some of the things in Cinderella, and Cinderella you'll notice a slight mention or two of the things in Gothel and the Maiden Prince, and it'll be the same with the Snow White retelling. I'm very much looking forward to it. I have the title for it, but I don't want to reveal that just yet, so I won't tell you what the title is. I'll do an announcement next year, but for you, all you need to know is it's a Snow White retelling. It will be from the point of view of the villain. I'm going to answer all the questions in the chat here, and then I'm going to start closing things up so that I can have a bit of a rest. I'm off to a book club after this. I'll have to talk less there, so I'll hopefully cough less on them because they're discussing the city between books, and I'm very much looking forward to. Laura asks, which of my characters am I most like? So I have a lot of similarities with Pet, but that's mostly emotionally rather than any other way. Kez is also pretty close, but the one that I think one of the ones that's closest to me is Dion from the first Chill of Autumn, in a lot of ways that I don't particularly like. So yeah, she's also very similar. I'd say sort of a cross, if it were possible, a cross between Pet and Dion. Though I do have a very small amount of Isabella in me as well. It's just that because the paradigm of my life is not exactly written for me, I can't be as fabulous as her because I fall over too much. So yeah. Kaylee says Athalas was their favorite psycho until a certain point. I feel very sorry for people who think that way and the bad feelings with that. And I totally understand. I still love him just as much. And you haven't seen the end of him. Like I said earlier, he will show up again. He's going to try and claw his way back into your affections probably. Or maybe that's just my bias speaking. He probably doesn't care. He's very ruthless that way. SL says, love that you share the excerpts and interact with everyone in the comments and that they look forward to them. Well, like I said earlier, it's a lot of fun for me. So also you guys, your GIF game is really strong. The amount of times where I've gone to check a notification on my Facebook and just burst out laughing because the GIF is so perfect for the occasion. Yeah, I enjoy that. Vinci TV Holic says they had to turn to audiobooks because reading is hard. Yeah, audiobooks I can't do. I'm dyslexic, so reading is always going to be that little bit difficult, but I have a certain font I use and it makes things much easier. But audiobooks themselves, not. Yeah, for some reason I don't seem to be able to listen to them. It's a real shame. I'm really glad I got to have Zira doing the City Between audiobooks because that's just been delightful. Even though I don't like listening to audiobooks, I can tell she's done an amazing job and her voice is just fantastic. Kaylee says that the excerpts are like a holiday. I'm glad you feel that way. Yep. And Kaylee's saying that they enjoy reading actual books, audiobooks rather than actual books too. It makes it easier. If I read nonfiction, I actually prefer an audiobook. I can do a puzzle while I listen. So yeah. B Foreman says Brust, and that's cool. Yes, I love Stephen Brust. I don't read all of his, or at least I don't reread all of his, because some of his more science fiction-y stuff is not just has a lot of bad language in it, like 7 F words a page, which seems just an over exuberant personality, but also has a lot of the kind of sexual ethics that I don't really like to read about. His Vlad books I love without reservations. I absolutely adore them. I love his Shoulder Dragon. It makes me happy. I really enjoy those. And even his other stuff, it isn't that it's badly written. It's not. It's really well written. It's just that it's not my thing. So there's sometimes where I'll read one and be like, okay, yeah, we'll not read this one again. Kaylee Kaylee's saying something about setting in Korea. If you're talking about the spin-off series, yes, going to be set in Korea, but I won't make it as hard for you guys to understand the Korean this time. With Jin-young, I did it particularly because I wanted him to be so foreign and so cut off and so non-understandable, and to have to understand him anyway. It'll be all about the readability for the spin-off series, so you'll be able to get that. Yes, she clarified spin-off series, not the excerpt. Tulips and Honey is saying thanks for the shorts. I really enjoy writing them. They're a lot of fun. You don't have the commitment of a huge long book that you have to write, but you still get the fun of writing the characters that you love. It's kind of like, I don't know, caramel popcorn. It's just fun. Yeah, I enjoy it. Kaylee has a question. When did Jin-young fall in love with Pet? Was it in the 7th book or maybe earlier? He fell in love with her quite early, and he was very extremely irritated about the fact. In fact, you can see him in the books. If you go back and read, you'll be able to see him being extremely irritated by the fact that not only is he falling in love with Pet, but that Athelis knows and is laughing at him, and that he's determined not to be in love with her, and the fact that he can't seem to help himself and that Athelis is right after all is very irritating to him. So I think, I can't remember exactly which book it is in, but you'll notice it. You'll be able to see him being just very irritated about the fact that he's in love with her. B. Foreman says, saw things coming from the first and they've still got their favorite psycho. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that at the moment. I can understand that. I have my own favorite psycho. So anyway, I'm going to start wrapping up here. Any final questions, chuck them down there. I'll try and get to them. But otherwise, I'm going to call it a day. And my tea's nearly finished. I've been topping up from my little travel mug that keeps things warm. But the tea is nearly gone, which means I will have to go and probably, I need to eat breakfast. I should eat breakfast. Yeah, I'll go and eat some breakfast and have a break and then go on to the book club. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for coming out to talk and to ask questions. I will announce another live stream at some point, but it'll probably be a few months in the future. And in the meantime, I guess I'll try and do some other videos, whether it comes to tropes or or other things like that. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I've been enjoying doing videos. It gives me an opportunity to get dressed up. I don't normally get dressed up unless I'm going out to a show or something like that. So thank you for all the love and support in the comments and the feel betters and the you're amazing. Thank you. And yes, I'll be watching it for those bikinis. Wow, I better go. I'm stopping being able to talk properly. Thank you so much for coming out, and I will see you guys in the next live stream. Bye.